Hey, it's CJ and welcome to the Magic Lair. Today I'm going to show you how to build an amazing killer Eldrazi deck. And we'll also do some gold fishing so you can see it in action.
You did good by losing. You did good by losing, bro. You lost.
This was the first optimized commander deck that I ever built. I did build a blue and red commander deck for my first deck, but it was really bad. It was basically just random cards from Foundations, which was that was the new set when I got back into Magic. So I just bought like 15 packs and then just built a deck. It was pretty bad. Now, you're probably wondering why I chose Eldrazi as a theme. Well, the thing that really got me into the Eldrazi, this was before I realized how hated they were, but I watched this video. Here, let's play a short clip.
Leaves is nothingness, and within that nothingness, we can find the Eldrazi. These are ancient cosmic entities that stand as a symbol of absence. These Titans of Oblivion defy the structure of the multiverse as they show off the insatiable hunger of the void at the very center of a game defined by its color. So prepare to discover the horrors that lie beyond the spectrum of mana. This is the story of the Eldrazi, their imprisonment, the battles for Zendikar and Innistrad, and what makes these creatures some of the most thematically perfect cards in all of Magic the Gathering.
It's basically the lore of the Eldrazi. And when I saw that, I was like, I have to use these creatures. So I started looking at them, and I'm like, I just put all the biggest ones I can think of in here. So we're going to go over it, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. And if you want a full list, check out the link in my description. I'll put a link to my Mox field with all the cards. And if you don't have all these cards, that's okay. Because I also have a tutorial I'll put up here for you guys. And if you click there, this is going to show you how to make your own proxies from home. You don't have to order all the cards, buy all the cards, or own all the cards. Just print out the proxies. The commander, Zuladak Voidgorger. Now, I do have a secondary commander, Ulamog the Defiler. Now, Ulamog the Defiler was the original commander for this deck when I came up with the idea, before I found out about this guy. But he was the original idea because this is pretty much a game ender right here if this hits the board, because people just scoop when you exile half their library. Sometimes, not all the time, but he costs too much. It's 10 mana. 10 mana for a commander. It's a lot. But then if he goes to the graveyard, now I have to come up with 12. It's not great. So we use Zuladak the Voidgorger. He only costs 6 mana. And we'll be able to get him out by turn, I think turn 3 or turn 2. I think I've had him out by turn 3 for sure. One game's by turn 6 with this deck. Now, it is a bracket 3, but you're usually not going to win before turn 6 or 8. 6 will be very quick. Sometimes you go into turn like 12 or 14. It all depends. But let's go through the cards before it gets too late in this video. All right, so the lands in this card are mostly 99% utility lands, okay? There's 4 basic snow-covered swamp. There's 4 basic snow-covered wastes, and the rest of them, all utility lands. So let's get right into it. First one, Urza's Cave. Urza's Cave. Now this land in particular, tap it for a colorless, or pay 3 and tap it. You can sacrifice Urza's Cave, search your library for a land card, and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So, what cards do you want to look for with Urza's Cave? Well, I'll tell you. You're going to want to look for Urza's Saga, Reliquary Tower, Fomori Vault, Arcane Lighthouse, Winding Canyons, Stripmine, Seagate Wreckage, Mishra's Workshop, Bondar's Enclave, Ayavugan, one of my personal favorites, Witch's Clinic, Inventor's Fair, or Rogue's Passage. Now those are the lands that I would search for with Urza's Cave. Now, you can decide yourself what land you want to get, but those are the ones that actually have a utility that you're probably going to want. You know, those are probably the top lands. So search for one of those. Urza Saga, in particular, if you do go get Urza Saga, or if you just play an Urza Saga, these are the artifacts that you're going to want to get. You have a Mox Diamond, a Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, Soul Ring, of course, if you don't already have it on your first turn, Sensei's Divining Top, Voltaic Key, or Manifold Key, both great cards for untapping artifacts that you might already have in play. So those are the artifacts that I would get, or that you can get. I think those are all the artifacts that are 0 or 1 cost in the deck. All right, on to more lands. I didn't go over all the lands in this deck for this video, but like I said, the full deck list is down below. So we have another utility land, Homeward Path. All right, you can either tap for 1 colorless or tap it and each player gains control of all creatures they own. This card really helped me out. When somebody took my Emrakul, what is it called? Emrakul, the World Anew. Somebody took my Emrakul, the World Anew, or copied it. I don't know exactly how it happened. I think they copied my Emrakul, which on cast, you take control of all of target player's creatures. So if they take all your creatures, you can tap Homeward Path, and each player gains control of all creatures they own. Boom. All right, on to the artifacts. Now, there are a lot of artifacts in here. 38 artifacts in here, okay? 20 of them, which are mana rocks or cost reducers. So, we're not going to go over all the mana rocks, but there's a lot of them in there, trust me. And that includes Aether Spark, right? Yeah, Aether Spark, that one, I guess. Anyway, here's some more interesting artifacts you might want to consider. We have Moonsilver Key. Pay 1 tap, sacrifice Moonsilver Key, search your library for an artifact card with a mana ability or a basic land card, which is good because we have the snow-covered wastes, which are considered basic. So anyway, Moonsilver Key, I like to get, if I don't already have it, which I usually don't, I like to get Metal Worker because it has a artifact with mana ability. So it does produce mana, although it's worded weird. Metal Worker, you tap it, and then you reveal however many artifacts you can from your hand, and you get 2 mana, 2 colorless mana for each artifact you reveal. So usually this deck with 38 artifacts in it, usually you have 2 or 3 artifacts in your hand, you know, easy. So you're gonna reveal 3 artifacts, boom, tap for 6. That card is so good in this deck. So that's one that I usually get, or any of the other artifacts with mana abilities. If you don't need a Metal Worker, it's not going to work out. Another one, Mystic Forge. Mystic Forge goes infinite with infinite mana, and Sensei's Divining Top. Okay, so check it out. It would go infinite by itself, except it only says you can cast artifact spells and colorless spells from the top of your library. It doesn't say that you can play land. Now you can tap it and exile the top card, but now it's tapped and it's not going to be infinite, right? So how do you get rid of those lands? You have Sensei's Divining Top. You're going to swap it for the land, and then cast Sensei's Divining Top, you know, keep getting your cards. So you keep drawing infinite with infinite mana, and you can win the game, basically casting your whole entire deck. Now there's no specific win con with this deck, which I did on purpose because I just like to keep it more interesting. So instead of a single win con, you just have like 15 Eldrazi that you can decide which one you want to pummel your opponents with. Another cool card, Mind's Eye with Unwinding Clock. You're most likely going to have a mana rock, which means you're drawing an extra 3 cards each round at least. So that's really good because you're going to untap your mana rock on the opponent's upkeep, tap to draw a card when they draw, and do that every turn. Crucible of Worlds. This card is super strong in here. So with Crucible of Worlds, you're going to be able to play cards from your graveyard, which means any card, any of the utility lands that you can sacrifice for an ability, you can now play it again and sacrifice it again. So Strip Mine, oh, I'm going to get rid of one of your lands every turn or whatever. Just an example. And then we have Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves, of course, to protect our commander or other creatures that we might need to protect. We have a defense grid for kind of slowing down that counter spell interaction, because you have to pay 3 extra to cast a spell when it's not your turn. And then the icing on the cake, Akroma's Memorial, 7 for a legendary artifact. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and from red. Another big artifact, 8-drop here, Dark Steel Monolith. Now this one's indestructible. And once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than paying the mana cost for a colorless spell from your hand. So you're still getting the casting effect for like the Eldrazi and whatever, because a lot of Eldrazi's triggered abilities are on cast, not on ETB. So this, you're going to pay 0 to cast it. You're still going to get that ETB. And then Plantier of Orthonk. This one's really cool. You're either going to mill cards and do damage to somebody each turn, or you're going to draw a card, or more than that, I think. What is it? At the beginning of your end step, put an influence counter. Then an opponent may have you draw a card, so you only can draw 1 card. Or you're going to mill X, where that's how many influence counters you have. So if you're milling 4 cards and the total mana value is 20, because we do have a lot of expensive cards in here. The Eldrazi alone are like 10 or 12 mana each. So they're going to be taking some damage, and they're most likely not going to want to take that damage, so they'll probably have you draw a card. That one's pretty good. Okay, so you also have the keys, Voltaic Key, Manifold Key, and Sonic Screwdriver. So all of these will be able to untap your other artifacts. Now, Sonic Screwdriver also taps for mana, so that one's kind of weird and it costs more than the other ones. But what you're going to want to do is take the Voltaic Key or Manifold Key or Sonic Screwdriver and untap your like Basalt Monolith or Grim Monolith, so you're not paying the 3. Instead, you're only going to be paying 1 to untap those. So you can use it for that. You can use it for other artifacts like a Soul Ring. You can still get an extra 1 mana. You can use it for other artifacts where you have an activated ability, and you can use it more than once. So the keys are really helpful for doing that. Now, at this point, you're probably like, well, do you have any interaction in this deck? I have some. All right, All is Dust. That's a automatic add. 1-sided board wipe. Well, more like a 3-sided, because 3 of them are going to get wiped, except for colorless permanents. You're not going to get wiped, so that's good. Another one, and these are all sorceries. Introduction to Annihilation, so you can exile a permanent. You can exile any permanent, but then the controller gets to draw a card. Next sorcery, Selective Obliteration. So each player chooses a color, then exiles each permanent unless it's colorless, or if it's only that color, okay? So mono decks, no big deal. Colorless, no big deal. Everyone else, you're probably gonna lose something. All right, and this big bad sorcery right here, Rise of the Eldrazi. So this one says, this spell can't be countered. Destroy target permanent. Target player draws 4 cards. Take an extra turn after this one, and then exile Rise of the Eldrazi. If there was only a way to not exile it and just keep using it. Wow. On to the instance, we have Eldrazi Confluence. Now this one you get to choose 3, and you can choose the same one more than once. So you can either give target creature +3, -3 until end of turn, exile a non-land permanent, then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control, so you're blinking something. You can do that 3 times. And then, or you could create a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token with sacrifice this creature for colorless, which is cool that you just have to sacrifice it, you don't have to tap. So that one's pretty cool. The next instant spell is a tribal instant Eldrazi. That's the spell type, or the spell name and type. Anyway, not of this world. Counter target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control. It costs 7, but if not of this world, costs 7 less to cast. If it targets a spell or ability that targets a creature you control with power 7 or greater, which includes our commander, because he's a 7/4. So that means we can cast it for free. It's a free counter spell. If somebody tries to destroy our commander or any other creature that has 7 power or greater, it's a free counter spell. So it's really good. Not of this world. You want to keep that one handy. And then our last instant spell, Warping Whale. It costs 1 and a colorless, and you can choose 1. Exile target creature with power or toughness 1 or less. Counter target sorcery spell, or create a 1/1 Eldrazi Scion creature token. So yeah, I'd probably most likely create the token with it, or counter a spell, a sorcery spell. That's all you can counter. All right, and now the moment you've all been waiting for, the 15 big bad Eldrazi creatures, and we're going to be looking at them from smallest to biggest in order of power. All right, but first, here are some of our big non-Eldrazi creatures. We have Blightsteel Colossus, 11/11, trample, indestructible, with infect. It's an 11/11 with infect. So I hope you can block it, otherwise they're dead. And that costs 12 mana, not too bad. The mana value is important though. 12 is good, even though it's bad, because we have a lot of mana rocks, and as long as somebody doesn't board wipe all of my mana rocks, which has happened, and that usually ends the game for me. But if you have your mana rocks, you're gonna have a lot of mana. Trust me, you're gonna have 12 by turn 5 or 6 probably. Okay, so you're gonna have 12 mana, and you're gonna get this out, and you're gonna be able to cascade for less than 12. So 11 or lower, you're gonna cascade twice. That's why we want high mana value. But also Wormcoil Engine. This is a great artifact creature. 6/6 for 6 mana with Death Touch and Lifelink. Ooh, that Lifelink is so nice. But if it dies, you create 2 colorless worm, Phyrexian worm creatures, and one is a 3/3 with Death Touch, and one is a 3/3 with Lifelink. So he's already good, and then if he dies, he comes back as 2 creatures. Another one that I like that has graveyard activated ability, Scavenge Brawler. This one I just hope that people kill when I put this out. It costs 6. It's an artifact, 4/4 creature with flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, or pay 5 colorless mana, exile Scavenged Brawler from your graveyard. Choose target creature. Put 4 +1/+1 counters, a flying counter, a vigilance counter, a trample counter, and a lifelink counter on that creature. So usually I'll put him out just to block, chump block something. He'll go to the graveyard. I'll pay 5, whatever, on my turn or whatever, to exile it, and it gets 4 +1/+1 counters on an already scary creature that I have out. Plus flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink. Lifelink's big. Love it. Okay, so here we go. A couple of other honorable mentions that you might want to know about. In the creature department, we have a Skittering Cicada. It's 3 colorless, or 3 of any color, for a 2/2 flash creature. So you can flash this Skittering Cicada out whenever you want, and then not only does it have flash, now you may cast colorless spells as though they had flash. That's really good. And this is all for 3 mana. So if that wasn't already good, being able to cast any spell in your deck as though it had flash. Also, whenever you cast a colorless spell, until the end of turn, Skittering Cicada gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the spell's mana value. So you cast a spell that costs 12, he now gets +12/+12 and trample. That's crazy. All right, the next one. This is another flash creature. Liberator Urza's Battlethopter. Once again, it costs 3, and this one has flying, but it's a 1/2 instead of a 2/2, which won't even matter once you hear the rest. It's flying. You may cast colorless spells and artifacts. Spells as though they had flash. Now the other one doesn't say artifact, but artifact spells are colorless unless they're the colored artifact type, which obviously aren't in here, so it doesn't matter. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator Urza's Battlethopter's power, put a +1/+1 counter on Liberator. He starts with a power of 1, so anything above 1, he gets a +1 counter. Alright, and then you cast another spell, and this guy is going to get a lot of +1 counters because you have a lot of high costing creatures. Alright, now for the Eldrazi. Alright, this is all of the Eldrazi, all 15 of the Eldrazi in this deck. Alright, in order of power. Mana Reshaper. Okay, Mana Reshaper is 2 and a colorless. When Mana Reshaper dies, reveal the top card of your library. You may put that card onto the battlefield if it's a permanent card with mana value 3 or less. That's really good. Otherwise, put the card in your hand. So you either get a free card with mana value 3 or less, which there's quite a few in here, or it goes in your hand. Either way, you got a card. And this is a 3/2 for 3, so he's probably going to die pretty easy. But people tried not to kill him. He doesn't even have flying. You can attack people with this 3/2 and they won't block it because they don't want you to draw a card. Or even get a free permanent. Reality Smasher for 4 and a 5. Now we're already on the second cheapest creature and it costs 5. So you know these are going to be big bad guys. Alright, so for 5 mana you get a 5/5 trample, haste, and whenever Reality Smasher becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, counter that spell unless its controller discards a card. So the other one gives us a card, and this one, if they try to kill it, they have to discard a card. Either way, you're getting card advantage. Next one, we're up to 7 mana. 7 mana for this. Spawnbred Protector. It's a 6/8, and at the beginning of your end step, this is every turn, you get to return up to 1 target Eldrazi creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and create 2 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature tokens. Every turn, dude, that card is so good. Even if you're not annihilating your opponents with it, they're going to want to target that. Like, pretty much all the creatures in here are a target. You're the main target the entire game. So the next one also costs 7, but this is a 7/7 first strike Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink again. Love that life gain. And Ward, pay 7 life. It's Sire of 7 Deaths. That guy is a beast. One of my favorite cards from Foundations, actually. And next, we're up to 9 mana. This is Kozilek, the Broken Reality. He's a 9/9. When you cast this spell, up to 2 target players each manifest 2 cards from their hand. That means they take 2 cards from their hand, put them face down, and those are just 2/2 creatures. I believe they can cast them. They can flip them over if they pay the casting cost. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I've actually only gotten this card out one time, so. So they manifest 2 cards, and then for each card manifested this way, so it's going to be 4, as long as there's at least 2 people with 2 cards in their hand. I get to draw a card, so I'll draw 4 cards when I cast this. It's crazy. And not only that, other colorless creatures you control get +3/+2. And yeah, it costs 9, but in this deck, 9 is super easy by like turn 5. So the casting cost is high, but we have so much mana in this deck. It's just half the deck is just mana. All right, Artisan of Kozilek, 9 for a 10/9, and when you cast Artisan of Kozilek, you may return a target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, somebody got rid of one of your Eldrazi? Oh, that's too bad. We'll bring them back out. Now, you won't get the cast trigger from that, but at least you'll have that big bad creature out there. Now we're up to 10 mana. Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. All right, he's a 10/10. When you cast this spell, exile 2 target permanents. Ooh, that's handy. That's just a bonus for casting this 10/10 indestructible. Whenever Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of their library. Whenever it attacks. So it doesn't have to deal damage. Whenever it attacks, the defending player is just getting rid of the top 20 cards out of the game. That's crazy. This is why people hate playing this deck. I get it. All right, we're up to 11 mana creatures. Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre. Okay, he's a 10/10, which, when you cast this spell, destroy target permanent. Oh, this one only destroys 1 target permanent, but it is indestructible, and it has Annihilator 4. So whoever you attack, before even blockers are chosen, that player is getting rid of 4 permanents. A lot of times that starts digging into their lands. So this card is pretty vile. And whenever Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. This is one of our 3 anti-mill deck cards, because this is, if it gets milled, it's going to be shuffling our graveyard into our library. So we shouldn't get milled out with this deck. Next one. This one costs 9. We're back down to 9 mana, but it's an 11/9 Void Winnower. Your opponent can't cast spells with even mana value. That gets really confusing. I hate playing this card, but it really messes with the opponents, so it's kind of worth it. Your opponents can't block with creatures with even mana values. So the even mana values just makes the turns take longer, which is kind of annoying, but not only that, the artwork is just chef's kiss, right? So let's move on. That one's, nobody likes that card, but it's fun. Next one, 12 mana. It's an 11/11. It that betrays. With Annihilator, only Annihilator 2. So when you attack your opponent, they're going to be getting rid of 2 of their permanents. And then whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, this is great for those decks that like to sacrifice creatures, black, graveyard decks. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, which is going to be whatever they're sending to the graveyard, then put that card onto the battlefield under your control. That's pretty much going to shut down their deck. Unless they want to give you all their creatures and permanents. Next one. This one costs 10 mana, and it's a 12/12 for only 10 mana. That's a pretty good deal. 8 and 2 colorless. Kozilek the Great Distortion. If you cast the spell, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw cards equal to that difference. Alright, so that's pretty good. It has Menace, and it's a 12/12. And then you can also discard a card with mana value X and counter target spell with mana value X. That's really good. We're almost there, guys. A few more creatures, we're almost there. Alright, going in power level, remember, another 12/12 Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. For only 10 mana. When you cast this spell, draw 4 cards. It has Annihilator 4. And when it's put into the graveyard from anywhere, shuffle your graveyard into your library. This is one of my favorite creatures, mostly because I get to draw 4 cards. But it's still Annihilator 4, which is for 10 mana. Next one, Emrakul, the World Anew. It's a 12/12. And when you cast this spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls. That's pretty crazy, and people will scoop to this card because it's just mean. It's very mean. It's flying, protection from spells, and from permanents that were cast this turn. Permanents that were cast the turn it comes into play. I don't know. But when Emrakul, the World Anew, leaves the battlefield, I have to sacrifice all creatures I control. That's a big downfall. It also has Madness, pay 6 colorless, which I really like, because if I can somehow discard this, I can get it out for 6 mana. That's pretty awesome. And then Emrakul, the Promised End, another nasty Eldrazi creature, this guy. He's a 13/13, flying, trample, and protection from insects. But not only that, when you cast this spell, you gain control of target opponent's a turn during the player's next turn, and after that, the player takes another turn. And it costs 1 less for each card among card types in the graveyard. That's pretty crazy, because normally it would cost 13. You can get this out for like 8 or 9 mana. Ooh. And you get to take control of the biggest threat's turn. Well, you're probably the biggest threat. But you get to take control of somebody's turn and waste their mana and cards and just get rid of cards that they should have kept and make all kinds of bad decisions, like attacking yourself and blocking the creatures you want to kill that they have. All kinds of stuff like that. It's pretty mean. And after that, they get a turn to try to recover from that, but it's usually really bad. But that's not the biggest creature, although you might think it is. The biggest creature is our alternative commander, Ulamog the Defiler, which you might look at his power and toughness and say it's only 7/7, not a 13/13. But this costs 10 mana. And when you cast this spell, target opponent exiles half their library. Round it up. So within those cards that they exile, you're going to add a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the highest CMC cost among cards in the exiled pile. 12 is the highest I've gotten before, so it had, now, mind you, I had Echoes of Eternity out, so it doubled the counters, because that's a triggered ability, ETB. It got, not 12, excuse me, that was the cats. So, since I had Echoes of Eternity out, it not only got 12 +1 counters, it got 24, which means it has Annihilator 24 because it has Annihilator X, where X is the number of +1 counters on it. Now, Annihilator 24, after you just exiled half your library, bye-bye. I mean, it's game over, right? Unless they have an answer for it, which they could either counter it, or, once their library is exiled, they can't do anything. So that's it. That's the deck. So yeah, you put an Aether Spark on any of these big bad creatures and you're gonna have mana for days. But enough talking about the cards, and like I said, if you didn't get a chance to read all of them, the deck list is in the description. But right now, we're gonna do some gold fishing so you can see this thing in action and see how much fun it is to play, because these artifacts in here are just like, I like playing the artifacts almost as much as I like stomping people with Eldrazi. It's a really fun deck. So let's go check it out.
Ooh. What game?
The game as well.
Oh, the Buffalo Bill one.
What the fuck?
All right, nothing.
That to Soul Ring to Arcane Signet.
Oh, classic combo. Draw a card for my turn. Strip mine.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna tap one for a manifold key.
The guy next to me hold the Lion's Eye Diamond.
To Grand Monolith Pass.
Nice. Draw a
This
card.
1/1 human.
We'll play a Dranith Ruins for land.
Tap 1,
Oh,
2
yeah.
for Magus of the Moon. Non-basics are mountains.
Alright, untap. Draw. We're gonna play a mountain. And then I'll pay 1, a 2, a 3 for a Plantier of Orthonk. So we're gonna go to end step.
Norn comes back, everybody take 1.
So I would mill 1. That's what I would do. But I gotta scry 2 first. You wanna mill and take a damage, or you want me to draw 1?
Yep.
Alright. You got a Cloud Key. 3 damage. Alright, I'm gonna untap. Untap. Draw a card. I'm gonna play a mountain.
Mountain?
Yeah. Nice. A red mountain. And then I'm gonna tap for 4 red and put out this Thran Dynamo. I'm gonna tap for 3.
Expert.
Yeah, you can have it. I'll tap for 3. I'm gonna put out Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter.
I'll let you draw if you choose me.
Okay, so I'm gonna draw a card then. Aren't you glad you didn't take 10 damage? Untap, a draw. We're gonna play oh no, they're mountains still, right? So I guess it does produce mana, so I'll put out
I'm
that
gonna
mountain.
sacrifice these.
Games.
That's all you got.
He's got a +1 counter. Alright, so I'll tap 3, and I'm gonna cast this Matter Reshaper. He'll get another counter.
Nice.
I'm gonna go to end step. We'll put another counter on here. I'm gonna scry 2. Doop. Ooh.
Draw your card, bro.
Okay.
That's crazy. You know you're dead, right?
Yeah.
Tapped out. Romeo's got a 1/1. And then Relic's
33
He's got another
damage.
Oh, I got another creature, alright. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Asen, let's go 33 at you, buddy. You've been whooping my ass all game.
You're so dumb.
Dang. No, I will have 11 mana though on my turn. So.
Well then, clean this board state up, dog.
You're so...
Alright guys, right here I had to cut the audio off because these two players started having quite the derogatory argument, which was definitely unnecessary, but kind of hilarious at the same time. If you'd like to see the full argument, I'll put a link to it right here. But let's do my last turn. I draw a card. I don't remember what the card is that I drew. I think it's the one I'm going to play now, maybe. Can't really remember. But so I tap 3 with 3 on Dynamo, untap it with the key and tap it again. I put down Basalt Monolith and Grim Monolith. I think I drew one of those. and then I have another one floating because Grim Monolith only costs 2. So from those I got 7 mana, and then I tapped those, so now it's 10. So I got my favorite Eldrazi. I think it's my favorite because, I mean, Ukin, the Defiler, is probably my favorite. But right here, I said I'm going to draw 4 cards unless you want to counter it. He tries to counter it with a Fierce Guardianship, but that's for non-creature spells. So thank you. I'm glad I looked it up and verified that he couldn't counter it. But yeah, I mentioned that it says non-creature. He's like, oh, okay, you got it then. So I didn't really do anything after this, but we won the game. He pretty much couldn't do anything. I think he didn't draw lands or something, and plus everything was mountains. So I'm not really sure how I wasn't really paying attention to his board state. So there I am drawing my 4. I don't remember what happens after that. I don't know if I even show him. But yeah, he really couldn't do anything, and I was just going to start putting Eldrazi's out every turn. It's like I have so much mana. So yeah, what turn was that? Oh yeah, turn 6. So this was turn 6, which this is like a average board state, I would say, for me around turn 6. Usually by turn 6 I have my commander out and another Eldrazi or something that costs 7 that would have cascaded me. So yeah, I didn't have the commander out on this game right here because he got destroyed or exiled or something on someone else's turn, the turn after I put him out. So he never got me to cascade, but the game was over, so I got lucky, got some mana, got out an Eldrazi, and I got lucky and won. So that was it for that game. Now we'll go into a couple really quick goldfishes. This wasn't really a goldfish, it was more just an edited game. So I tried to make it a goldfish looking kind of video while I was playing a game to make it more realistic with the interaction, which I think did, because we had a blood moon and we had my commander getting killed. So it did add some interaction in there, so that's pretty good. And it still did really well. So I'm just going to do a few quick goldfishes so you can see what kind of hands you can expect with this deck. And if you want to do it yourself, you can just go to the Moxfield link down below and just goldfish it on Moxfield. I do that a lot just for practice, so you know I know when I have a good hand if it's good or not. I do goldfish on there quite a bit just to practice decks while I'm out and about, because you can just do it on your phone on Moxfield. So I'm just, if I'm out somewhere just waiting, I'll just goldfish some games real quick. But here, we'll do a couple quick ones here for you, and then I think we're going to have to end this video because it's getting way too long. But I hope that this deck is entertaining for you. Alright, so let's see the first goldfish match here. Alright, so I will actually do a couple goldfishing rounds just because I wasn't able to get as many games in that I wanted to. I actually had one really good winning game where I had like all the mana rocks I needed, I had all the right cards, and I didn't record that game, unfortunately. But let's just do a couple goldfish games real quick. We have a Lotus Petal, Sanctum of Eternity, Mox Opal, Fomori Volt, Mind's Eye, Mishra's Workshop, Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunter. Oh my goodness, this hand is broken. We have about 40 artifacts. I think it's at 38. So Mishra's Workshop is going to do a lot of work for us. If I get that in my opening hand, it's almost always good because we have so many artifacts. So, and I have 2 lands. Well, 3 counting Mishra's Workshop, but this can only be used for artifact spells. So it's a land, but it's not for everybody. But the fact that we have Mox Opal and a Lotus Petal, we can really ramp out quick with this hand. So let's take our first turn, draw a card, and we got another land, Bonder's Enclave. So the hardest part about playing a land with this deck is deciding which one you want to play first. So let's see here. This one is pay 3, discard a card, activate, or draw a card, activate only if you have creature with power 4 or greater. That one's not going to help us out anytime soon. This one puts your commander from the battlefield to your hand. That one's not going to help anytime soon. Mishra's Workshop, we can't cast anything turn 1, so we don't need to put it out there just yet. So I'm going to put out Fomori Revolt, and that's going to be able to tap for 1 colorless, or we can also discard a card, look at the top X cards, and then where X is the number of artifacts I control, I'll put one of those in my hand and the rest at the bottom. Now, there's a decision to be made here, because whenever you have 0 cost mana rocks like these, there's a risk of somebody making you discard cards, discarding your whole hand, and having them all go away. There's also the risk that if you play them, that they'll get destroyed before you get to use them. So it's always a balance. I'm going to say we're probably not going to wheel on turn 1, so I'm going to keep them in my hand for now. And then we're going to go to turn 2, which I will draw a card. We drew all his dust, not really going to help us right now. But we can play our second. Should we play the Workshop yet? This costs 5 for Mind's Eye, which is a really good card, but we'd only have 4 mana with this. I'm not going to waste a Lotus Petal on it because I want to have 3 artifacts out so I can play Mox Opal. So we're just going to cast Mind's Eye when we get, maybe next turn. It would be good with the Lotus Petal, but then if I sack the Lotus Petal, my Mox Opal is not going to be online. So we're just going to go ahead and do Bonder's Enclave and pass the turn for that, and then draw for our turn 3. We have Nephalia's Academy. There are like, I think 33 land in this deck. No wait, this deck has 37 land, I think. This one's pretty high. Mostly all utilities though. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and, okay, so now we have 2. This is where we can actually play the Mishra's Workshop, and we can tap this for 3, 4, 5. We can play the Mind's Eye now, and then we can also play our Lotus Petal and our Mox Opal. So now the Mox Opal will tap for 1 of any color. Not really going to help us this turn, but they're out there, and hopefully they don't get destroyed. Or we could even keep them in our hand, but I'm you know, you got to be wary of people making you discard. So we'll untap and go to turn 4, which we should be able to get our commander out, maybe. So we drew a snow-covered waste. I do have the 4 basics in here, because sometimes you need to search for a basic, or someone else will make you search for a basic, or, and look at the artwork on here, so beautiful. Sorry about the reflection from my light, but there we go. See if we can get a nice close look at it. There you go. But I love these foils. They're pretty cool. And a fun fact here, the snow-covered foils I think are like $1.50 each. But if you get the original non-snow-covered wastes foils, they're like $30. So I got these snow-covered ones, which are newer and a lot cheaper. But yeah, so we're gonna play our land turn 4. We're gonna do Nephalia's Academy. This one says if an ability an opponent, or a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard a card, you may reveal the card and put it on top of your library instead of putting it anywhere else. Which means, you know, if you don't want it to go to your graveyard, that's up to you. So you can choose. It also taps for colorless. So we have on mana right now, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for artifacts. For non-artifacts, we can't use Mishra's Workshop, so we only have 3, 4, 5. Not great, because we can't cast our commander yet on turn 4. So we're gonna pass the turn. Our opponent's gonna draw a card. We're gonna pay 1 to draw a card. We have a Manifold Key, that's pretty good. The next player is going to draw a card. We'll pay 1 to draw a card. We got a Grim Monolith. Mind's Eye is such a good card draw engine. Third player going to draw a card, and we're going to draw a card. Sonic Screwdriver. Okay. Awesome card advantage. So we now have 7 cards again. That's pretty good. Untap these land. We're going to take our 5th turn, turn 5. Now, we don't have any interaction, but strip mine. We're just playing, you know, a lot of times my stuff doesn't get destroyed, but sometimes it does. So we're just gold fishing. We have 2 keys right now. Manifold Key and Sonic Screwdriver are both untap another artifact. We also have Grim Monolith, which we can now untap for 1 instead of 4, so that's really good. Let's see if we can get our commander out, though. So we're going to put out, for my land, this one returns a commander from the battlefield to my hand, activate only during my turn. So it is instant speed, but it's only during my turn. We're going to put this out in case somebody tries to destroy our commander. We can just put it back in our hand if we have the 2 extra mana. And then for 2, we're going to tap 2 for a Grim Monolith. And then I'm going to tap 1. Actually, I should leave this untapped. I don't know if I'll be able to use it. Probably not. We're going to tap 1 for a Manifold Key that untaps our Grim Monolith. And then, let's see how much mana we're going to have here. Oh, I should have used Mishra's Workshop. What was I thinking? Of course, Mishra's Workshop will do all the work here and pay for both of these artifacts. That was almost a blunder. So we do that, and then we're also going to pay 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put out a Sonic Screwdriver. So this one I pay 1 to untap an artifact. This one I pay 1 to untap an artifact. So let's get right into it. I'm going to I'm going to tap for 3. I'm going to use 1 to untap it. So I still have 2 floating. We'll use a dice here. We have 2 floating mana. Untap it. I'm going to tap it for 3 more. And then I'm going to use 1 to untap it. So we have another 2 floating. That's going to make 4. And then I'm going to pay 1. No, wait, should we tap it again? I think I'm going to tap it again for 3, and that'll put us up to 7. But we're going to use 6 for Zuladak. And the reason I use this instead of using these 2 here is because I want to have 2 mana open in case somebody tries to destroy Zuladak. I can return them to my hand, but I won't be able to do that on the other player's turn. So in that case, I'll just use the mana to draw a card with Mind's Eye. So either somebody tries to destroy Zuladak on my turn, I'll pay the 2 to return it to my hand, but that's probably not going to happen because they know I can do that. They're not going to waste the card. So they'll probably try to destroy it on their turn. But that's just that little added protection, so like if they don't want to waste the mana on their turn, they might not actually destroy it. You know, you never know. So we're going to pass the turn. They're not going to destroy it. I don't need this Lotus Petal anymore, so I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm going to use it to draw a card with Mind's Eye. And then I'll end up drawing 2 more cards because of the other player's turn. So we drew a Ulamog the Defiler. This is a game ender right here. We drew a Urza's Workshop. And then the 3rd card is Arcane Lighthouse. So having my Mind's Eye out is like a huge advantage with this deck since I usually have extra mana. Alright, so now they took their turn. We're going on to our turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn 6. Okay, so turn 6 for bracket 3. It says no players can be destroyed before turn 6. We had an extra 1 floating. I'll just get rid of that. So it says no players can win before turn 6, or nobody can die before turn 6, basically is what they updated for the bracket 3. So it's turn 6, nobody has died yet, as long as everybody's playing fair magic. I haven't killed anybody. So we'll draw a card for turn. It is a Darksteel Monolith. It's basically game over unless somebody destroys this.
well, they can't destroy it. It's indestructible. You'd have to counter it or exile it. So, cost 8. Once each turn, I can cast. I can pay 0 to cast a colorless spell. So that's good because we do have to cast Eldrazi from our hand in order to get the cast trigger, or we can cascade into it. But we can't just put a card onto the battlefield. It has to be cast, which is good for this one. This one would not have untapped, but I'm just going to say that I would pay 1 to untap it during my upkeep, or untap, upkeep, yeah, whatever. We can play a land for turn. I'm going to play, let's see, do we have any Urza lands? No. Let's see, I think I'm going to play Urza's Workshop for land. So it taps for 1 mana, and then 1 additional for each Urza card in play. So if I have a Urza's Workshop and another Urza land, it would tap for 2. Now I can play Ulamog for free if I cast. Where'd it go? Darksteel Monolith, which isn't in play. I don't know why I put it out there, but I'm gonna cast this instead this turn. So we'll put that out for 3. We'll pay 1 of that 3, so there's 2. Untap it and tap it again, so that's 5 mana. 6. It's an artifact, so we can use Mishra's Workshop. 7, 8, 9. Oh, so we don't need that one. My bad. Alright, so we got 5 plus 3 is 8. We're casting this for 8. We cascade trigger first with Zuladak, so we're going to cascade for 7. There's that one. Land 12. Oopsie. We're losing them. 3. Skittering Cicada has flash, and all my colorless spells have flash. Warping Whale. I'm going to use this to create a colorless Eldrazi token. Okay, so we got those 2 out of the way. And then, second, I'm going to cast a card for free for 0 mana. So it's obviously going to be our alternate commander, which is Ulamog the Defiler, because that's the whole point of playing Ulamog, is to get him out there as soon as possible. So we're putting out Ulamog. These go on the bottom. And then we're going to cascade 2 more times before we do Ulamog's trigger. I'm basically going to end it here because this is a game ender. Usually people scoop once you exile half of their library and have a, usually it's going to be 6 or more CMC that they exile. So you're going to have at least this 13/13 with Annihilator 6. Basically, you attack somebody and they're going to, unless they can get rid of Ulamog, you attack someone and they're going to have to sacrifice 6 permanents. So that's not going to be good for them. But before we do that, we're going to have to cascade. So let's see what we would have gotten. Defense Grid. I like this one because it kind of slows down people's counter spells and interaction, because to cast a spell on someone's turn other than yours, you have to pay 3 extra. So 2 mana counter spell is now going to cost you 5. More likely that they're not going to be able to pay that. So Defense Grid kind of gives me more free reign as far as preventing my stuff from getting destroyed on, my turn and all that stuff. So we're going to cascade again. We have a land. Herald's Horn. When it comes into play, select a creature type. I'll choose Eldrazi. So Eldrazi will cost 1 less. And this goes at the bottom. And that's it. That's the game, guys. I think that was a good win. Is it turn 6 or 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn 6? Turn 6? Now, I wouldn't have killed anybody on this turn, so it's not... Even if I did on turn 6, it would have been bracket 3 legal. However, this isn't going to be able to attack until next turn. The only thing that would have made that able to attack would have been if I cascaded into Chroma's Memorial, which would give it haste. I do have flash though, and this one also says whenever I cast a colorless spell, until on a turn, Skittering Cicada gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the spell's mana value. So what did we cascade into? Defense Grid and and Herald's Horn. So this was already out, so I casted this with this out. So this is going to get +10/+10 and trample. However, it does not have haste, so I can't attack with that yet. But I do have some mana left over, don't I? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5. I can't really do anything else. So I think that's going to be the game, guys. That's not bad. I did have a strip mine and a wastes.
All right, guys. So that's our time for today. This is probably twice as long as what I expected it to be. But let me know in the comments what you liked about this video and what I can improve on, and we'll try to make the other one a little bit quicker and still get all the information out. Alright, so I tried to write a script for this one, and I think I added a lot that wasn't in the script. So yeah, just let me know what you think, and I hope I see you guys on Spell Table or Discord or something. It's Relictus. Adios, guys.